Let's talk about Biden silent on Gaza war while White House Correspondents' dinner despite protesters' criticism. A little bit of drama from the White House Correspondents' dinner, and then we're going to move on to fun stuff, okay?
This was a White House Correspondents' dinner unlike any other. Hundreds of protesters gathered outside the Washington Hilton to heckle the attendees.
You're celebrating when you go into this dinner. 133 Palestinian journalists in Gaza. Think about that. 33,000 people go up in murder. More than half of them are children.
We charge you with genocide!
The protesters were particularly incensed that journalists would attend an event with a U.S. president who is himself accused of being complicit in the Israeli killing of so many Palestinian journalists in Gaza.
These journalists that are attending this event should be ashamed of themselves. There's been over 200 days since the start of this genocide. Over 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, and 140 journalists have been targeted by the Israeli government and murdered because they are telling the truth. And instead of speaking out against that and having any journalistic integrity, they're having dinner and laughing with Biden, who's providing billions of dollars to the Israeli government for them to fund this genocide of Palestinians, and they've said nothing.
Gazan journalists wrote an open letter to their colleagues saying, "We insist you publicly boycott the upcoming White House Correspondents' dinner as an act of solidarity with us, your fellow journalists, as well as with the millions of Palestinians currently."
See, now the problem is the American journalists don't think that the Gazan journalists are actually journalists because they don't think they're people at all. In order to become a professional, a part of the professional media class, you have to kind of let go of the attitude that Arabs are humans or Muslims are humans, especially for the past 30 years where, 20 plus years, where the American target has always been one of dehumanization to the Muslims, to the Arabs in general. And if you want to, make a career in journalism, you got to go along with that.
Currently being starved in Gaza due to the Biden administration's continued political, financial, and military backing of Israel and cut off of funding for.
There is no better representation of this reality when the Associated Press and Al Jazeera building, the Associated Press building was blown up by Israel in 2021, I believe. The American media class basically covered that and totally ate the propaganda and repeated it unconditionally. Yeah, in the month of May 2021, Israel directly blew up the Associated Press building and then claimed that Hamas was there. And the irony, of course, is that the American journalist class turned around and repeated it verbatim. There were very little questions. There were very little curiosity. Same with Shireen Abu Akleh, who was an American Palestinian. There was that as well. Her assassination, her direct assassination in the hands of an Israeli sniper, also was covered with the same exact lack of interest, lack of curiosity, verbatim repeating what Israel had told them.
Life-saving humanitarian aid. But the U.S. media elite was undaunted and dutifully took their seats in the ballroom. There was only one brief passing reference to the dead Palestinian journalists, and even then without mentioning who was responsible for their killing.
Our profession can be perilous. Since October, about 100...
How do you feel about Hamas purposely hiding in hospitals, schools, etc.? Selective outrage. The level of gaslighting is insane. Who attacked who again? Please remind me. We got another one. We got another October 7 leaver that returned. I refuse to believe you support Hamas. Not you justifying October 7th debate. Literally harassing Jewish people on private property, but get mad when they defend themselves. No, that's not bait. This is an October 7 leaver. Or maybe following since April 18th, yeah. October 7 leaver, coming back to return. Okay. Chatter. There is no justification for Israel's actions from the jump. If you do not know how the Israeli state in its inception operated, you should read a book. 10 Myths by famous Israeli historian Ilan Pape is a good place to start. 100 Years of Palestine by Rashid Khalidi is another good book that you can read to see the Palestinian perspective and the Palestinian history. These are two easy to read books that you can engage with, okay? If you think that October 7 happened in a vacuum, you are wrong. If you think that October 7 happened out of nowhere, specifically due to unrestricted Jew hatred from the Palestinian side, you unfortunately have eaten the propaganda dick so thoroughly that you just cannot comprehend that people that you perceive on the opposing side are also rational actors. You might not agree with what they did. I certainly do not agree with the killing of civilians, of course. But having said that, you still need to understand why there is resentment at all. But it feels like you might be too difficult to change the mind of on this issue, considering that I'm talking about Shireen Abu Akleh and also the bombing of the Associated Press building, and you literally immediately repeated that Hamas was purposely hiding in hospitals, schools, etc. There is no conclusive evidence that Israel has given about Hamas hiding inside of hospitals, schools, etc. at all. You have only seen weapons caches that Israel will present every now and then, okay, or used to present every now and then when people were paying attention to what Israel's bombing campaign looked like inside Gaza in this past siege, with the caches being like one AK-47, that in your mind completely justifies Israel's sieges on the motherfucking hospitals. The level of gaslighting is insane to you because you have been gaslit. It's a sad state of affairs. Counter protesters are the ones who are going and harassing Jewish people, Jewish anti-Zionists, as well as all the pro-Palestinian student encampments. I went to the Palestinian student encampment at UCLA and I covered it. We were able to get much better insight into what goes on inside of those encampments, and we saw it. It was all old ass motherfuckers, jobless motherfuckers rolling up, not even a part of the campus, not even a part of the student body population, going there deliberately with an interest in agitating. It's sad to see how much someone who has been in this community for a long ass time can be just so deluded on the matter. I still believe that you can change your mind, and I hope you do. I hope you become a little bit more understanding that the Palestinians are also human beings, just like the Israelis are. Anyway, where was I? I don't even know if this dude is still in the chat, but I hope he's listening to what I have to say, and I hope you can change your mind.
Journalists have been killed, most of those deaths in Gaza. According to the committee,
I legit got banned because emotions were high during the Ukraine issue, but over time I recognize your position as we continue to discuss. Maybe it happens to these folks eventually. Well, the Ukraine situation also unfolded in the exact ways that I have, ironic that my prediction that Russia will never invade Ukraine was, of course, completely wrong, which I apologize for immediately. But everything since then has unfolded in the exact ways that I've said it was going to unfold, which is also, I think, part of the reason why a lot of people immediately ran to misconstrue what I was saying and you know, never really looked back. But I'm glad that you became more open-minded to what I was saying.
to protect journalists.
Lined up outside the Washington Hilton, a representation of all the bloodied flak jackets of the journalists killed by the Israelis. And yet, even this display apparently didn't have an effect on the attendance of the U.S. press corps inside. Shia Bertansi, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news.
Oh, the Joss monologue? Oh, God. F***ing demon.
Journalist dead! The whole thing is painted red!
Yeah, I'm listening and I will continue to hear different perspectives. I agree with you on most things, but this one is taking time. There you go. See? It's good to try and diffuse people and shake them from their previously held convictions, chatters. Don't get mad and be like, it's genocide, so this guy, okay? My entire purpose on this planet in my professional career is to try to talk to people and get them to understand a different perspective that they are they seemingly have no interest in seeing. For many, if they've never been introduced to the subject matter with a shit ton of propaganda, it's relatively easy. For others, especially on the issue of Israel, many people are from birth learning about Israel in a completely different way, and it becomes very much a part of their identity and the way that they see the world. That's why there's so much cognitive dissonance amongst progressives when it comes to the issue of Israel. So many progressives who are wonderful people otherwise, who are kind people, wonderful people that believe in social justice and whatever, literally just like snap in a way when it comes to the issue of Israel, when they're like, well, these guys are terrorist, monstrous dogs, they're pieces of shit that must be dealt with. You know what I mean? You are shadow banned on Twitch for your information. No, I'm not. I don't know why people say stuff like that. I'm definitely not shadow banned on Twitch.
Shame on you for breaking bread! 130 journalists dead! Every time the media lies! A journalist in Gaza dies! Journalist in Gaza dies! Shame on you!
I really want to ask that chatter. Here, chatter, this is a Israeli asking you this question. What do you think this war will achieve for Israel? Once all of Gaza is demolished, what will happen? Will there be an occupation or a security belt like in Lebanon? Will weakening Hamas militarily for a few years make Israel safer in the long term? If the long-term consequences are that any chance of a future diplomacy is irreparably damaged, as generations are justifiably radicalized to unprecedented levels. If you are literally, and he's being sarcastic, the Israeli perspective is obviously not or not sarcastic, he's saying the Israeli perspective is obviously not the most important one. But like, if there are literally Israeli Jews in the chat who can recognize this reality, and there are plenty of them here, okay, then if you are like a Zionist in America, what are you doing? You know what I mean? These dudes live in it. He's right. He's not sarcastic. No, I know. He was being understanding. I thought he said the Israeli perspective is obviously the most important. He wasn't saying that. He was saying it's not the most important. That's the thing. Like dudes who don't live in Israel, who don't want to live in Israel, okay, who live in like Los Angeles, having a more hardline position than like Israeli leftists is wild. You know what I mean? I guess that's how propaganda works, though, especially because American propaganda hinges on an unrestricted amount of Islamophobic bullshit.
133 journalists have been killed trying to tell this truth and share this truth with the world.
Thank you. Biden pokes fun at his agent Trump during the White House Correspondents' dinner.
Thank you. If you think your Irish grandparents are wondering, my great-great-grandparents who came here in 1846, and went, what in the hell's going on? I want to thank you for the warm welcome, but please, not so loud. Donald was listening.
Oh, God. So lame. He said the Donald. Way past his bedtime, too. You can fucking see it in his face.
Be Don. I kind of like that. I may use that again. Kelly O'Donnell, President of the White House Correspondents Association, thank you for having me. Thank you, sir. But Kelly O, let's be honest. You're way too young to be president. It's been a year since I delivered this speech, and my wife Jill, who's with me tonight, was worried how I do. I told her, don't worry, just like riding a bike. She said, that's what I'm worried about. Of course, the 2024 election is in full swing. And yes, age is an issue. I'm a grown man running against a 6-year-old. Well, I feel great.
Dude, it's like, oh God, this is so terrible. I feel like this is one of those things where it's obviously Genocide Joe, right? So that's fucking ridiculous to begin with. But it is so, like, everything here, everything that he's doing is like when you see a child try to, draw or do something that adults do for the first time ever, and they obviously suck, but like you're grading on a curve because you're like, that's a child. That's how I feel. I'm like, wow, he's able to get off a joke. Like, it's just so ass, but you're like, wow, look at that. Grandpa's able to fucking talk. Okay.
I really feel great. I'm campaigning all over the country. Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina. I've always done well in the original 13 colonies.
I gotta pee.
And speaking of history, did you hear what Donald just said about the major Civil War battle? Quote, Gettysburg, wow. Trump's speech was so embarrassing, the statue of Robert E. Lee surrendered again. But look, age is the only thing we have in common. My vice president actually endorses me. I had a great stretch since the State of the Union, but Donald has had a few tough days lately. You might call it stormy weather. What the hell? Trump's so desperate he started reading those Bibles he's selling. Then he got to the first commandment. You shall have no other gods before me. That's when he put it down and said, this book's not for me. Look, being here is a reminder that folks think what's going on in Congress is political theater. That's not true. If Congress were theater, they'd have thrown out Lauren Boebert a long time ago. Now, to all my friends in the press and Fox News, some of you complain that I don't take enough of your questions. No comment. Of course, the New York Times issued a statement blasting me for, quote, active and effectively avoiding independent journalists. Hey, if that's what it takes to get the New York Times to say I'm active and effective, I'm for it. It's okay. I have higher standards. I do interviews with strong, independent journalists who millions of people actually listen to, like Howard Stern. And I know you're looking around and saying, this guy's been doing this for 50 years. He's had his moment. Give him someone else a chance.
I feel like there's two different ways to analyze humor when it's the president trying to do a tight five. Like, and I'm going to be as deliberate in my language as possible here. When Obama made the I'm going to drone strike the Nick Jonas brothers or the Jonas brothers joke, that's a good joke. It's just really gross coming from Obama because Barack Obama actually engaged in the extrajudicial killing of an American citizen, right? But it's still a well-delivered, good joke, right? For Joe Biden, a lot of his jokes are not even good, not even well-delivered, and it's also obviously gross because it's coming from Joe Biden. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I mean? Not to hype up like, Jon Favreau and Lovitz, but it is, they wrote a decent and tight 5 for Obama.
To say that, I say, Lauren, ignore the critics. Ignore the critics. Lauren's a great friend who's had 8 comedians play me over the years on Saturday Night Live. 8. And who the hell says I'm not a real job creator? Look, Lauren's had even more comedians and actors joke about me, like the funny guy in Weekend Update, Michael Che. He's hilarious. Scarlett Johansson, you did such an incredible job in your State of the Union rebuttal that you should be do Weekend Update. Clearly, you're the funny one in the family. Look, folks, on a serious note, in addition to marrying up, Colin and I have another thing in common. We both find strength in family. I got to spend some time with his family yesterday in the Oval Office. Colin's dad was a high school teacher in Staten Island, and his mom is an incredible woman, a family of firefighters, was chief medical officer in New York City Fire Department on 9/11. As a doctor, she rushed to ground zero, risking her own life, treating and saving fellow first responders.
9/11.
Rushing into danger for others is my definition.
Oh my God. Imagine if he made a 9/11 joke. That'd be so sick. I would, dude, if he turns around and makes a 9/11 related joke right now, it's going to shake my world. Okay. It is going to fundamentally alter the fabric of American society and everything I know about Joe Brandon.
Patriotism and heroism.
Oh no, it's just for an applause break. Never mind. That's not a joke. Never mind.
And so is what all of you do when you report truth over lies.
Oh God. Oh, you're so fucking lame. You suck, dude. You suck dick and balls and ass.
That's why I want to close the night with my genuine thanks to the free press. There are some who call you the enemy of the people. That's wrong and it's dangerous. You literally risk your lives doing your job. You do. Covering everything from natural disasters to pandemics to wars and so much more. And some of your colleagues have given their lives, and many have suffered grievous injuries.
Wait, is he talking about the Palestinians?
Have lost their freedom. Journalism is clearly not a crime, not here, not.
Wait, what the Wait. What the Bro's writing unlimited checks to the most efficient journalism murder machine. There ain't no way he's saying that at the White House Correspondents' dinner, right? Like, he's like, yeah, I killed many of you by way of Israel. That's right. Many of your peers that you obviously don't give a about. He's probably just talking about Ukraine, right? The only place where there is journalism happening. Palestine doesn't exist. Gaza doesn't exist.
Not there, not anywhere in the world. And Putin should release Evan and also immediately.
Yeah, it was Russia. Okay, got it. Only Russia's doing crimes against journalism. Only Russia. Israel, on the other hand, loves journalism so much, they're giving him hugs.
Yes, we're doing everything we can. We're doing everything we can to bring home journalists, fellow journalists, Austin, and all Americans like Paul Whelan, who wrongfully detained all around the world. And I give you my orders to Biden. We're not going to give up until we get them home. All of them. All of them.
Wait, what?
On the 3rd anniversary of January 6th, I went.
Wait, Paul Whelan? Bro, Paul Whelan is not a journalist. Am I wrong? Yeah, Paul Whelan is not a journalist at all. Paul Whelan is 100% an agent that got. That's Mr. Passport Enthusiast himself. Paul Whelan, the journalist that was caught trying to literally, dude, listen. The rule of thumb is, the rule in the espionage world is, if you're an agent, okay, if you are State Department, if you're CIA, if you're KGB, if you're FSB, if you are whatever the Chinese version is, okay, and you get got, that's it. You got, okay? This doesn't mean that not Ukraine, sorry. This doesn't mean that Russia doesn't arrest journalists. They do. That the Evan dude is 100% a journalist, Wall Street Journal journalist that was arrested by the Russian government unjustifiably. He is a political pawn. It's completely ridiculous. Okay? Having said that, however, Paul Whelan absolutely firmly falls in the you got, you are a terrible fucking secret agent category. Multiple passports. He was arrested in the Moscow area by FSB, which later confirmed his arrest. Whelan's twin brother David said Whelan arrived in Moscow on December 22nd to attend the wedding of a former fellow Marine at Hotel Metropole Moscow to assist the groom's family members on their first visit to Russia, a country he had visited multiple times. He said his brother planned to return to Michigan. David said his brother entered Russia using his U.S. passport and had not been in contact with his family. He literally, BBC cited family members who bragged about knowing an agent of the FSB and was privy to an unusual cache of personal details about his friend, including which intelligence training schools he attended. Whelan said the man was one of his oldest friends in Russia and that he had visited the man's house in winter before the arrest. He loaned his friend 80,000 Russian rubles. Okay. Whelan, his longtime friend, framed him by appearing unexpectedly in the hotel, followed by authorities who later arrested him. I love the way that they're covering the story. Okay. I love the way that they're covering the story. He got caught with secret material that he literally bought for 80,000 Russian rubles and like 8 different passports, bro. That's insane. Like, he was just hey, listen, you guys don't understand. Paul Whelan, he's just a passport enthusiast who had, all of these, all of this intelligence in a fucking USB drive as a passport enthusiast with many different passports. He just, that was a special interest. Is like sensitive intelligence materials. You know what I mean? It's just like, I think you guys are f***ed up. Why are you against American journalists? Don't you think journalism is important? Yes, I do. I do think it's important. I think it was more than 80,000 Russian rubles, or 80,000. Source claims $80,000 in cash as opposed to 80,000 Russian rubles, worth $1,000 US, temporarily confiscated during customs inspection. According to Whelan's brother David, this report of MBK is a defamatory lie. Whelan was formally charged on January 3rd, 2019, according to Russian news agency Rosby. By the way, there's no time where this motherfucker ever even did journalism. So I don't know why the Joe Biden is calling him a journalist here. Like, it's not like there's any journalism that he has ever done.
I went to Valley Forge, and I said the most urgent question of our time is whether democracy is still the sacred cause of America. That is the question the American people must answer this year. And you, the press, play a critical role in making sure the American people have the information they need to make an informed decision. A defeated former president has made no secret of his attack on our democracy. He said he wants to be a dictator on day one, and so much more. He tells supporters he is their revenge and retribution. When in God's name have you ever heard of another president say something like that? And he promised a bloodbath when he...
Bro, this is not even funny now. He's just complaining about Donald Trump.
Loses again. We have to take this seriously. 8 years ago, you could have written off it as just Trump talk, but no longer, not after January 6th. I'm sincerely not asking of you to take sides, but asking you to rise up to the seriousness of the moment. move past the horse race numbers and the gotcha moments and the distractions, the sideshows that have come to dominate and sensationalize our politics, and focus on what's actually at stake. And I think in your hearts you know what's at stake. The stakes couldn't be higher. Every single one of us has roles to play, a serious role to play, in making sure democracy endures, American democracy. I have my role, but with all due respect, so do you. In the age of disinformation, credible information that people can trust is more important than ever. And that makes you, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, makes you more important than ever. So tonight, I'd like to make a toast to a free press, to an informed citizenry, to an America where freedom and democracy endure. God bless America.
Is it normal for the Correspondents Dinner in an election year to be so focused on the president's opponent? Yes. But I don't really care about the civility and the aesthetics of that front as much as I care about the fact that journalists have been ruthlessly slaughtered with the weapons that we've sent over to Israel, and the press is completely suppressing the truth and has for a very long time until it became impossible to avoid, harder than the top of the hour, because you can avoid the top of the hour ad break. Obviously, it's 3 minutes long, but you can avoid it by subscribing for $5 or for free. But the media cannot avoid lying about what is going on in Gaza. Here's the 3-minute ad break right now, by the way.
I'm going to turn it over to Kelly, then you'll hear from a real comedian. I think I know what I'm in for. You know, Colin Joe says, take an aim at me before with his jokes.
Oh, I'm sure. Are you ready?
Like saying, after winning the South Carolina primary, Biden barely edged out his closest rival. Time. Colin, when I win, I'm going to have a whole hell of a lot of time.
Thank you, everyone. Hello. That was hard-hitting journalism you saw in The Owl.
I don't even know if I want to watch this shit, dude. It's like the worst of the worst. You know what I mean? Trump on the dinner. The White House Correspondents' Dinner was really bad. Colin Joe's bombed. And Crooked Joe was an absolute disaster. Doesn't get much worse than this.
Before I begin tonight,
let's see what the banger liberal tweet was from Brian Carniello Joes. Can we just acknowledge how refreshing it is to see a president at an event that doesn't begin with a bailiff saying all rise?
we just acknowledge how refreshing it is to see a president of the United States at an event that doesn't begin with a bailiff saying all rise.
This guy has sex with Scarlett Johansson. Just saying. You know? Something you should consider.
And I would like to point out, it's after 10 p.m. Sleepy Joe is still awake. While Donald Trump has spent the past week falling asleep in court every morning.
Oh, God. Oh.
Though Fox News said he was just being anti-woke.
Oh, God. Y'all really want me to watch this whole fucking speech? I will lose it. I will lose my goddamn mind. I will die if I watch this. She stepped down from Oxfam because they asked her not to be a spokesperson for SodaStream. That's so funny. It's like the most mid... God, I love... Israeli inventions are phenomenal. You got Waze, SodaStream, the worst techno music you've ever heard. The only good Israeli invention is oftentimes in the field of surveillance technology, which is objectively bad for most people. I love the fact that she had to step down from being an Oxfam spokesperson because she was like, no, I have to literally keep pumping SodaStream. Like, I have to. You don't understand. This is very important to me. Silence at Correspondents' Dinner.
By the way,
The painful silence when people in your audience are the crooks taking away America's freedom of speech.
Could be outlawed in the U.S. by the end of this year. Isn't it crazy, by the way, that TikTok could be outlawed in the U.S. by the end of this year? That's a real shame. because we're going to need TikTok to document who is storming the Capitol next January 6th.
Oh my God. My partner just heard you say Waze is Israeli and yelled no. It's owned by Google now, but obviously Google has no issue funding and facilitating the genocide as well. So, you know, you missed this quote. Did you watch the new Boy Boy vid by any chance? No. We watched the full Brandon speech. Hassan is a bi. We did.